Good evening from the Kidnapster Diaries on a Sunday night of 4/7/13. Final round of the Texas Open in Bolero, Texas Open. Which is the big fuck you because of the Bush League, Big League Chew, junior varsity that I'm still stuck in 10th grade. And I've given away, paid billions and billions and billions of dollars to be beaten. Well, you can call it whatever you want. Absolute kidnapping is what I say, without a doubt about it. But nothing I can do about it when you got crooked cops running this show. And they bribed everybody with my stolen wallet. So, hey, like I said, all I can do is espouse my interpretations of the truth to be bantered or discussed in whatever capacity. So the key seems to be St. Louis is used as the insertion point key. What this is all about is they take a nobody, or not necessarily, okay, so you take somebody who doesn't necessarily have the propensity, the reality of it, and you plug them full of steroids and make them, you give them a blood doping transfusion, you put some parts on them, turn them into a bionic man, Lee Majors, as we would. And so then the ranks that are affixed to these persons then therefore are used as far as then the poker face mentality, or it's actually just like a game of battle. Whoever's got the highest card wins. So that's all it is. But they've stacked the deck because they don't believe in math. It's the atheism is they don't believe in real math. They figure there's always a way. Jesus saved, there's always the magic miracle Jesus card to play. Figure some way around it. There's always a loophole to beat it. Always. You can never lose when you're gambling with a stolen wallet. Because if you get caught, they might audit the bill and then find out, hey, this guy doesn't have any money to pay. Yet he's gambled $100 million with a stolen credit card in a casino that was rigged. So what they're doing, that's where the nonprofit casino comes in. My Jesuit volunteer nonprofit casino to pay. It's not just giving out money. You gotta have some pride involved here that they've got to win. So it's games, but the house, zero profit, non-profit casino. So therefore, it doesn't necessarily cost. It's just a way of distributing assets. And I have no choice in the matter. Like I said, I tried to build a door on the vault, but they won't let me. The bank examiners, what a fucking joke. You know what I mean? It's just bleed it dry till it's dead, and then bury the bodies, and then they're laundering the loot right now. So, there's all these things, these pimp handlers. They are in charge of trying to figure ways to screw me. Therefore, making them look more legitimate. And when they look more legitimate and I look dead, that's why obviously, my entire life was perpetrated. That's why I was hacked down my entire life. Therefore, it looks like, literally, they took me, and like I said, St. Louis, number 9 cathedral, based on the King of France ranking. Very high ranking key. That's a penthouse key. So therefore, they mass produced it, but they weren't satisfied. They even wanted to go higher, and they wanted to get high. They like to get high as a kite. Kite and checks, fake ID, forgery. So they started stacking the deck with these bionics and creations. That the system is the creator itself. So it doesn't matter who you are. Anybody that comes in does a certain requirements. And they don't care who you are. It does not matter. There are certain things. You got to be able to get into these certain things. Obviously, it's not just, if you're smart enough, you can get just about anywhere. That's great. But the problem is, it's a bad investment from my standpoint. But I don't matter because I'm forced with a gun to my motherfucking head to the Jesuit volunteer nonprofit casino for Jesus. Just give it away, give it away. Go. You can't make it dime. The problem is, like I said, is the deterioration factor of the estate that is being pillaged globally. Like I said, 55 million Catholics in the U.S. Probably it's more than that, out of 300 million people total. There's 1 billion Catholics in the world. So, that's a small minority. Even though they are some super hip VIP Catholics here in the U.S. of A. And they put some high-value, high-ranking people in there who are doing what they have to do within the system. But the problem is they chopped off Louisiana and Italy because they wanted Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. They wanted to teach them football shrimps over there in the rest of the world. They just football shrimps. Bubblegum shrimp factory, be catching them and scooping them up and serving them for some shrimp balls or shrimp crab cakes or shrimp etouffee or, whatever, shrimp creole, whatever you can come up with. So the Bubba Gumbo castaway here, starvation, Hunger Games, pain because I got an empty life, completely empty. So what they've done is they've rigged with these bionic ranks to where they outrank. But see, the thing is, the Catholics provide the health care. So you got all these Catholic health care groups that are making these super ranked people real healthy, even though there's guilt involved. Their health requires being plugged into a guilty system. That's where you get into the House of Cards. So the House of Cards is actually a weapon. It's a weapon because the health care that is provided through, most notably, Ascension. St. Louis is a big one. It has a lot of St. Vincent. Then there's Christus, which is in Irving, where the Chuck E. Cheese and the Boy Scouts are, and a few other things. And Archon, a division of Goldman Sachs, and ExxonMobil. And I don't know what. And like I said, is there a halo effect? Oh, and Neiman Marcus Encircle direct marketing is in. So then, and obviously I provide the cosmetic, I beautify everything because when the system is creator and beauty matters, then therefore it is necessary that it's a very strange tightrope in my estimation. This is all speculative interpretation of how I see things, how things seem to work. So then you've got Providence, Burbank is a big one because it's right across the street from Walt Disney World. And that's a big one that connects into Renton, Washington, which has Wizards of the Coast, a D&D, which is owned by Hasbro, which is Home Alone star Pro. Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And there was something else. Oh, Boeing Capital is there. There are a few other things. But making these things healthy. The problem is, like I said, when you've got a house of cards, in order to be healthy, it deteriorates. It's a weapon. So then you've got these 55 million because of the stacker. That's where we're so important with the St. Louis, number 9, King Francis, VIP keys. So they took me, which is high ranking, and lowered me down and stacked a lot of people even higher than me. Because my ranking globally doesn't matter about the system. It doesn't care that, about the system. This is stuff because they're after globe. We're talking about there's a lot more globally than there is domestic. So they pile all these people on top of me that outrank me. Therefore, they outrank everybody. They outrank that entire billion. So then, therefore, their health care, first of all, therefore, the system must figure a way to make them healthy. And therefore, there are other advantageous angles of exploitation to be manipulated. And that is a method and motive in my estimation. Then, the mob just tossed me out. They said, they stole my wallet. They hacked me to pieces to where I am now as low as they can get me. I mean, they wanted to hack me down so low that I would never escape as healthcare because they bet on screwing me, which I don't give a fuck about. But they outranked me domestically, and that's all that matters, because they're using domestic rules to keep me captive, even though they're spending global bucks. The 55 million USA Catholics are what they're doing is, I have a feeling, it's futures commodity speculation trades, derivatives, financial derivatives. So what they're doing is, there's the Catholic bank has their money, the actual liquefied assets, but then there is all this land and all these unrealized, untapped potential that has not, it's the spread I was talking about. Like my spread, I'm worth very, very little in real actualized wealth. But in actuality, my real global worth is billions of dollars. So the difference between my penny ante, JC penny existence, penny pincher, penny ante, in the billions of dollars I'm worth, is what other people are using. And there are ways they are using. One most notably is they take my possessions and therefore turn those possessions into being worth a ton. Like, for example, gifts are then they're taken as everything is a charge card. Like the General Lee Dodge Charger, it's not just moonshine bootlegging anymore, the Dukes of Hazzard boys. That's, well, the hazard being the JV bunker sort of thing. That's the spread that I am not allowed to develop more than my JC Penney anti-existence, but I'm worth billions. So all the meat in between is sold for parts. That's the nonprofit casino there. So then they figure ways of distributing all of this stuff. Most notably, trademarks and manufacturing, which I provide through the new hack. The manufacturing there then therefore turns into manufacturing. But there are all sorts of things. Like with, I had 2 leather jackets at one point in my life, back before I was living in my car, and I lost everything. And obviously I was shaken down and stripped of everything. And it's so funny because there are all these precedences that, I don't know, it's just bizarre. So I was like giving away stuff to family and friends because I had stayed on couches and eaten, and I couldn't do anything because I was not allowed to make money. Baton Rouge played hardball. Well, there he goes again. They, like a pay to play hardball. Well, they were beating me. They were buried. That was at the point when they wanted to lower me and lower me, lower me, lower me, and lower me as low as they could go, because they were planning on screwing my family. They knew I had a bunch of sisters and cousins coming of breeding age, so they had to get me out of the way so they could breed some hostages, because they had fucked me so bad. I mean, they really fucked me, and my dad doesn't know it yet. He doesn't think so, but he lost billions of dollars. I mean, he had more than me, but he lost billions of dollars, just like I did, in unrealized wealth. So they take these things, so I had a Sharper Image leather jacket, and I had a Banana Republic leather jacket, and my uncle I gave the Sharper Image leather jacket, but the problem is his followers, and there are a lot of people in these following groups, variations based upon affiliations of blood, or religious beliefs, or work, or clubs, or graduations. So, therefore, since the measured size was the same, being the same, so therefore my global net worth would then therefore be equal to his because of that leather jacket. So that's a charge card to equalize, the equalizer balance there of valuations. And how do they do that? So the followers figure ways, therefore, to transfer my value out of my assets into other people. And there are all sorts of ways of things going on. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of methods of what's going on in this particular schematic. And most notably, it seems to be there's different churches. Like I said, well, they split everything up. So there's St. John the Baptist Cathedral, St. John the Baptist Catholic Cathedral, right here, where I live, a block away. And there is St. John Episcopal Church, where my sister was married, which I did not attend because I had been tortured tremendously and did not. Like I said, I didn't know what was going on. She never called me once. I had no idea who they were. It was just a day before the wedding. My mother called me after I had been just massacred in Baton Rouge and just beaten down for many, many, many years. And obviously, see, Baton Rouge is playing my sister and my cousins were born at this Woe Man's Hospital on Airline Highway, where a lot of the kids were born back then. But since the Women's Hospital has built a new location, so just recently I read that the city of Baton Rouge, of course, had taken over the property. So obviously, that's a charge card factory potential, or it's wizard power or something, because they are obviously. There's some definite guilt involved. See, what happened was they tried to play sides. It's the demonic possession. The King Midas, anything I touched, therefore grew powerful. They figured a way. Anything I ever did, I was always wrong. I never did anything right. So therefore, it's a strange mentality that it's so much hate. So they hate me so bad. It's envy. ENVY, envy. It's either the North Vietnamese communists who don't believe in the system, or they're gamers, the Nevada envy. And so they're very envious. So they decided they were going to destroy me. They hated me because they were envious, and I didn't play the games really well, and so they decided to destroy me. But when they destroyed me, they needed to breed some hostages protection. We should have been building a global empire. But Louisiana has decided to be the runt of the SEC. I think they think they're counting on, after they finally kill me off and take over the world, that Louisiana will have a heyday, maybe, or something like that. So they're doing the dirty work. They did the dirty work. So now it's a matter of world domination using Catholic health as the weapon, because there's so much guilt involved, so much gambling guilt. So, they've been breeding hostages, whereas we should have been breeding into definitive families. But they want to keep us small and contained and pathetic and weak in order to desecrate the value of our high-ranking blood. We would be like the St. Louis Holy Family, but they want to bury us down as being pathetic and weak. Therefore, they are then able to manipulate the system. And like I said, these charge cards, the Dukes of Hazzard, it's not moonshine and bootlegging. It's counterfeit charge cards, charging on this gap, this spread of unused potential that is forcefully. They will not let me grow up. They will not allow me to, so they can have all this unused. Literally, my entire life sabotaged in order to have this big gap that they can exploit. Therefore, they're able to sell off parts or bribe people. So they bribe people with my unused assets, and they're selling parts. Same thing with the Catholic spread there. The Catholic Church is, I'm just one big part. What I'm supposed to be is the part of the banker of the law. And I'm not allowed to be, because they wanted a Lieutenant Dan, because they want to be able to access this easily. And nobody else is doing anything about it. They're just allowing the system to dictate the agendas. The system is worshiping itself. The system is built on these bionic, symbiotic, synthetic clones, where the system is the creator. It doesn't really have that much to do with who you are. If you get a degree, if you're affiliated in clubs, if you are part of a company, or if you get some sort. It's all basically it's these clone attachments that evaluate, and they jump the rank access. And when you're ranked up that high, then it's a weapon to extract or distribute, and they have channels built upon them as distribution networks. So there's different ways that I have been tortured. So the charge cards you can charge anything. And they're trying to break the bank. So they keep spending and spending and spending. It's this saddled rodeo drive. Spend, 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 spend. I don't just completely go crazy on that. And then I beautify it. Then we beautify it because not only are we the nonprofit casino, we beautify the whole thing. So therefore, those that are screwing us over, we make them pretty for screwing us. That's how damn smart these fuckers are, and how damn stupid, gullible, pathetic, and weak we really are. Because can't do anything because their big, fat, nasty asses are smothering. So yeah, weak was hacked down. So I'm giving, I give and give and give and give and give till I am so weak to where I have nothing left. I can't even move my body. Malnutrition. Every bite of food I take goes to somebody else. My body doesn't really exist as far as anything else because I got hacked, and they worship the hack more than they do the body itself. So therefore, like I said, I have malnutrition from the parasites that extract any bread. Like bread being um, like communion, bread being enriched money or whatever you want to call it. If it's sliced bread, that's JV High School because a slice is a part of God. If it's tear bread or torn bread, cut off because my sister has a painting of that my grandmother painted in front of a willow tree with a boy fishing. So it goes into my niece's piggy bank or something like that. You know, it's all these stupid, stupid things, but they are honored. Therefore, because I'm not allowed to protect myself, and so therefore the followers allow this to happen. The followers are playing us, and my family's not very smart. It's like this whole notoriety of calling things. Well, you don't tread on my stuff. That sort of mentality. But their followers come on behind them and do all this and do whatever they want. But family members who are locked outside, you know, it's all these parameters that are set by the pimps that are controlling the family through this called mentality of, and it's crazy tug of wars over surface tensions of borders and things like that. Whereas we're still stuck out in the woods being robbed blind. So they're keeping this battle, this minutia internal struggle going on. Miniatures, like a Dungeons and Dragons game, miniatures fighting each other, Game of Thrones, but we're giving away billions and billions of dollars, and they're building a cage around the whole thing to where we'll never escape. It's really, really stupid. So they're playing my sister against me. It's like, because my sister works as a party planner, I am not allowed to go to any parties, ever. She gets rights to all parties, I get none. And that's her pimp's mentality. That's not, you know, that's really not a stretch of the way way things go. Or, I mean, there's all sorts of, and it's not necessarily the family itself. That's why we are kept in this strange short leash mentality and unable to steer or unable to discuss. They don't want us to talk about. This is a big, like the Offspring song, keep them separated. And even though I've dug up a lot of evidence, I don't have the money. I look like a, you know, I don't have the credibility, whereas money is the credibility. Therefore, I could put together the evidence to turn this theory into realistic, tangible proof based upon patterns of synchronicity. But everybody knows it's real good evidence I dug up, and they don't want me to do it. So they sabotage me to keep me captive in the state of being that I'm in. Mad math. I mean, that's crazily what it is. These mad math scenarios of they are using these miracle exponents. Like I said before, the miracle goodwill hunting variable exponent. Praise Jesus. You know, where you can plug in any number because of all that spread. There's a huge pool of raw assets out there. I'm one sector. I'm not saying I'm acting in a banker examiner's capacity as a legal entity with a perspective of what's going on, because the church itself has its assets. It's tangible assets in banks. But there's the whole, what they're doing, like I said, is they're trading on the futures. And then in order to make those futures real, they have to attack the land with controlled corporations to then therefore take over control of the land. The church itself has its assets, but it's the entirety of the land. And they won't let me compete. I'm the bench warmer paying all the reverence dues for anybody else who got screwed in the back. Yeah, bench warmer. What a funny thing. It's a bunch of hippie peaceniks, to be quite honest with you, who are figure all the, it's the buffet mentality. The thing is, like I said, most they don't like math at all because they got the miracle equation that can make anything right because they got this huge pool of assets. You can figure anything out when you can throw enough money at it. So therefore, it is able to then be able to manipulate reality through alterations of logic principles. They erode foundations and reshape them to fit the equations rather than the principles of math or logic, accountability. So, let's skip around this. So yeah, they want to break the bank. We got into the charger cards, the hazard charger cards, to where they want to max them out, break the bank, to where they can bury the bodies, keep all the loot. You see, they can't leave the bank intact. They've done so much damage that they have to destroy it because they have to, kill it. They've got to kill it because they looted the place. So now they've got to burn the motherfucker down to burn all the evidence. And I'm evidence. I'm trying to, but they don't, they don't want to hear what they don't like what I have to say, so they choose to cat on my tongue because I speak truth. So they figure away. So then you got, the pay to play. And it's all these strange, stupid marks and scars of things that have happened. The arsenal of precedences, like I said before. Because I played adult baseball at one time, therefore the precedent was set that I pay to play. And that whole JV thing where the guy could, they really just wanted to waste my life. These people hate me. It really goes back to they want to keep me away from quality women, first of all. And they want to feed me the shittiest leftovers so they look like they massacred. They just, they are the champion winners. They really have this, the mob has this mentality of desecrating something of substance with global value to make themselves be seen as champions. Woo, we got us a trophy, champions, that sort of mentality bullshit that I pay for. So, they won't let me play even though because I am paying for this non-profit casino, pay-to-play mentality, pimp juice. Pimps, see what's going on is the pimps are the ones that are carving up my ass and selling. They carve off parts of my flocks and they start selling off these parts and different variables and different sorts of things like that. So, that's when cash has to become king. It's the quantity basis of measure. That which is symbolic of the bull. There's the bulls and the bears, but the bulls are in control of the bear law because of alien abduction. Abduction. I'm abducted because I'm body snatched. So my principles, the accountability, is therefore being usurped by the feedlot bull mentality where quantity cash is king. And the gaming is being inflicted upon us. They are therefore the North Vietnamese communists because they do not believe in math or accounting because they inflict their balance sheet will upon me so they can max their credit cards even more. That's where you get into the charger mentality of this whole thing. So the pimps come in and play the angles using selling parts. And it's the addicted, they're addicted, and I have to be empathetic to their addictions because I am their slave and I'm their beautician. So therefore, they have to make me weak and empathetic to be reliant, addicted to something. So I have to be, that's why they wasted it's like the H, the A, and the M is the three parts of thirds of my life. They've wasted the H. The A was my playboy years, the brave play. They scalped me for fairways and You know, green fees for my A years, and now the M is when the pain will start, and I'm desperate to needle, that sort of mentality, and I can't compete anyway. So what they're hoping is if I ever do escape and get to play, that I'll have to beg like a fucking dog, and they'll run off to the new kids on the block and suck their cocks and make them gods of the masters, you know, that sort of mentality. That's their evil feedlot, that's their logic basis, is that I'll have to chase down and hunt and beg because that makes them feel special because they were reliant upon dope. My blood is their drug. They're addicted to my blood as their drug, and they want me to feel their pain because they are so goddamn juice head, roid rage valuable. So they got it inflicted upon me because I'm alien abducted. I'm a slave, so they're slave beautician, so I gotta be sympathetic, empathetic. Empathetic is a huge in this whole ordeal. I'm empathetic to I want to see the cost analysis of empathy does not work. They're making me empathetic to the J.C. Penney pincher. I mean, to everything. Anything and everything matters more than me. That's where it got into the hack where I'm matter the least to everything. But that's not very cost effective. But that's really just padding insulation. They don't care about it. They just keep adding insulation. They're nervous that the house of cards will collapse, and they just want something to cushion the house of cards collapse fall. So when the house of cards collapse, they just want some cushion. So they make me empathetic. They keep building, like the mafia talks about layers of insulation. Well, the top layers want insulation to cushion their landing. And so they keep making me pay to the lower levels in order to cushion their fall. And they've already spent my kids' money. See, I think I was supposed to. It was kind of natural selection, but I was supposed to get married and have a kid that they could take away. See, right now, if I would have a kid, they would have taken it away, obviously. They would, because I couldn't afford it. I'd have been a deadbeat, like they're deadbeats, because they can't afford, they're not, because they're reliant upon my addiction to blood. Therefore, they're so dopehead proud that they can't, this notion of independence is absolutely insane. They cannot, they have lost their fucking minds to be independent. Whereas that goes into it's like roid rage. They actually believe, with the senses of using this drug, it's a hallucinatory state. Like when you're on LSD, or it's like ecstasy more than LSD. Because I would say it's like meth ecstasy, methamphetamine, speed ecstasy, and steroids to bulk up the pounds. It's this chemical triple cocktail that it's like ecstasy because they just got tons of dopamine that they drill into my brain to get. They've got speed because of the math. They just make shit up. And they've got steroids to keep the weight and to bulk them up to get fat is good. Fat is healthy because most of the world believes in math controlling the population, so they don't. Fat is healthy when the rest of the world are suckers sitting there, they want NASCAR racing, get fat, for Pat in the fall because of it. So they've already spent my next generation's money to bribe an army. So they spent, that's the Prince Charming. They chopped down my tree. I'm not allowed because they've already spent next generation's money. That goes into this spread mentality. They spent it through my uncle. I think it goes back to that leather jacket. I gave my cousin a brown padded sport coat and from Mr. Sam's, which my mom used to own. And I gave my uncle a brown leather jacket, and I gave him I had a bunch of junk from going on the roads that he had got me. I gave him like a Reebok racing hat. I mean, but the thing is, what are these gifts really worth? The problem is because of this wide disparity gap between what I'm actually penny pincher tangible worth and what I'm really worth, they fill in the gap with these possessions. These are ways, so they are worth a lot more because I am not allowed to grow up. So therefore, these possessions, like I wrote to my sister, I wrote to my cousins. I said, cancel all. It's not them, it's their followers. It's their groups that are following. It's like my sister. We used to give her Madame Alexander dolls from around the world. My father would buy them. My mother, I would buy them. We gave her a bunch of these dolls because she was collecting dolls when she was a kid. But what are those worth now? Especially since she was kidnapped and brainwashed to use to kill the family. She's the weapon to kill, and the dolls are a weapon used to just because she's got like little dolls from every country in the world. All these Madame Alexander dolls. So she's now got a doll collection, which she kept. See, they kept her. My sister is a bank, weapon and a bank, and a mainframe that they use to program. I think she programs the Catholics and the Jewish princesses, and what she basically turned them in, and they've used her because she worked at Nike and she worked now. So they basically turned her against, and then she all these sorts of things. I gave her a book for the Fountainhead. The sun also rises, but the manipulation of intent. I even sent them a quarter with the state quarters. I said, good luck, but to try to show them, because I understood the manipulation of these value systems based upon what was actually going on, to try to understand that you cannot manipulate values expansively. Because, therefore, that adds more gravitational pressure pushing me down. So those people that are spending the spread of wealth, that's unrealized wealth, is therefore pressure keeping us captive. And I'm trying to close the door. Therefore, because they are wrecking the entire, and it really is, it's zoo boundaries based upon this stuff that we're not allowed to use because, but it's really an elaborate scam that it really, it's beyond all, I mean, and it goes back to obviously a known commodity. Obviously, we were known. Urban cowboy. Mickey Gillies from Faraday, Louisiana, cousins with Jerry Lee Lewis. Too much love will drive a man insane. I learned that lesson the hard way. See, there are these gospel cliches that are inflicted upon me because they are, you know, if there's some way to screw me, they'll inflict it upon me. The pimp dungeon masters. And Jimmy Swagger, which is an evangelical priest, or an evangelical pastor in Baton Rouge. And Mickey Gillies was in Pasadena, like Pasadena, California, the 91101, where in the 213. Well, it's the end of the 213. 213, no, there's I-110. I-110 goes from the Long Beach, Port of Long Beach, all the way and ends in Pasadena at the 91101. It was really but it winds through the 213, like the oceans 111, 213, 11, 11, 12, and 13. 111, 213. So it ends up in it passes through the 213, and it's a strange schematic. Obviously, has something to do with this. Oh, Roy E. Disney Red, Shamrock Holdings, and I mean, there's all sorts of Mickey. So that's from the Mickey Gilly part of it, and Gillies were urban cowboy. Deborah Winger, my mother's name was Deborah, and Deborah Winger was also in a lot. She was Drusilla from Wonder Woman's sidekick, Drusilla. I mean, there's all sorts of these. And Bud, obviously we get the Spuds McKenzie, St. Louis Budweiser mentality there, and obviously we were murdered. We were kidnapped and murdered, or kidnapped, brainwashed, and pitted against each other to very smartly steer. And it's alien abduction. They're using the law as the weapon because they stole our wallets and then they hacked us. They use the law as the weapon, and therefore accountability does not, because they get to use our wallets. What they're doing, the alien abduction body snatchers allows them legitimately to use our estate assets, even though over minuscule amounts of debt, It's the deal of the century. We're talking about the juke-down, extreme coupon deal of the century. Gift that keeps on giving, Cousin Eddie. And so they've used the law against us. But that's where it got into the identity crisis, because we never had any competent counsel telling it. That's why LSU screwed up royally. Tulane, Loyola, all them screwed up royally, because we were never informed. It was to figure it out. The figure fight, F-I-G. My grandmother has a fig tree. And of course, that means fight and figure. That sort of mentality. It's this crazy, crazy notion. So my entire life has been a fight, and I have been beaten senseless because I was handicapped, brutally handicapped, to where they wanted to shrink me down real small to be like sea monkeys, or to be like Smurf, captive, so a flea circus or something like that, or crawfish fights or whatever, the penny pincher, crawfish fights, that sort of mentality. So, pay to play nonprofit casino, anything else, the blind faith. Oh, the Catholics don't seem to be concerned. They are, it goes back to weak blood. The Catholic aristocracy is paying a ton because of it. They scout me and my father for the Reese Jones. See, Reese Jones is the son of Bobby Jones or Robert Trent Jones. I can't remember what. So Reese Jones is on the same birthday as my father. And today happened to be 4/7, the year that he was born. And I actually gave him, I did a model airplane of a Blue Angel, and I did a model of the Endeavour space shuttle, and he has those. So I put number 13, but it looks like a B, because on the Blue Angel, and he has those along with some other paintings and stuff. But we all know about the manipulation of intent, going back to the dungeon master mentality of this. So Robert, we get scalped. That was we're getting scalped, skinned alive, and the transplant on the fairways, the pride transfer. So our pride is therefore, so we have no pride. So therefore we have to be empathetic to those who are borrowing our pride. Therefore we have to be reliant sycophants to be empathetic to those who are not precisely independent while they're trying to solidify the transplant, let it take root, hold sort of mentality. So we had the Robert Trent Jones ties in with all sorts of, I mean, there's all, like I said, the Shell building at 910 Louisiana Street, where the Plaza Club is. There's the Plaza Tower at 1001 Howard Street. That's a gutted skin and bones. It was built in 1969, and the year it was built, it became the tallest structure in the state of Louisiana. Obviously, I paid for that. Even though state of Louisiana, if you look out, and I've got the picture on my website, if you look from the capital to the north, it is nothing but 50 or I'd say 30 miles of chemical plants. 30 miles, that's what your view is from the north end of it. It's 30 miles of chemical plants. Great view there, you know what I mean? But they still fucked me because of the Plaza Tower was taller than the state capitol. I think it was built by Weiss or something. And I think Skidmore might have built the Plaza Tower, I'm not sure. But right now it's completely gutted, toxic mold and asbestos. And what they've done is they transferred my gut, skinned me alive, skin and bones, skull and bones or whatever, into, in my estimation, buildings on Louisiana Street, Capital One buildings, or Shell buildings. I think it's Shell buildings that were built by Louis Skidmore. Transfer. So you got the Plaza Club on the in the Shell Tower there, which is affiliated with Club Corps, which is the most powerful entity in the world of U.S. golf. Owns more golf courses in the world. So I have a feeling because of, and they even played last week the Houston Shell Open at Redstone, like Sumner Redstone, but that's a V. See, that goes back to this. They are playing this. They would kill me. They will kill me. They will murder me. I've had many death threats if I try to escape and play out of bounds because they're guilty. I have to be, I have to respect their thieving abilities, the screws. So, the deviation is, well, it's the JV and the B. If you put them together, it's the JW, like Jehovah's Witnesses. And I think Jehovah's Witnesses believe in the Armageddon. And they're trying to avoid, so division is and that's basically the Bronx or Muslims. So these are all speculative, nonsensical, theoretical interpretations of facts that I've uncovered. So, they've got my father, Reese Jones, same birthday. And also same birthday as my first cousin, who is married into a family called the Champagnes. What they're trying to do is they're trying to use access and locks. So they've taken assets and usurped them and then built gates around them and kept them in and put certain sorts of things. But we are the source key. That we are the ones, we're like a big, if you look at us like the state of Louisiana, we're just a big turf management farm. They come in and skin me, transplant the pride assets elsewhere, and not only is it pride, it produces oxygen and all sorts of benefits. Photosynthesis, production, that sort of mentality. Photosynthesis, there's all like synthetics, synthesis, there's all sorts of things. So therefore, it is based upon this notoriety of popularity and the slick lube magazine pages mentality. Yet, we're unable to utilize any of these past. My father did better than I did, so therefore, that's why, one of the reasons they made me look so pathetic is so the family would think, well, we're doing pretty good compared to him, even though they're doing really bad. I'm just doing 1,000 times worse, terribly, terribly bad. That's a brainwashing mentality. Well, better than keeping up with the Joneses was supposedly coined on Jones Street. So one of the ways of their brainwashing the kidnap victims is by doing so much better than them, it lowers their ceiling of expectation and their desire to leap up and keeps them built at the glass ceiling lower down. Because I am so pathetic and weak, and therefore the family doesn't feel so pathetic because they're just living in mediocre. Even though we're worth billions, we're giving away billions. Still, it doesn't look necessarily bad. Not to mention we provide the beauty school dropout services. I mean, these people are crazy beyond all sense of anything. So let's see what else I have come up with. Football. They hate football. Most notably, I think this goes into, there was a threat deemed because feet like Italy is a foot, Louisiana is a foot. Football. Most popular sport, love a beautiful game. My name, of course. So that's why I'm a beauty shop beautician to make all these players happening. Cash is king, size matters, that sort of mentality. For the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company over there in Europe, that sort of mentality. So they hate football. Truly, truly hate it. So they figure out ways to screw it. Therefore, they try to invalidate it through making, there's all sorts of scams going on with that. That's just one of these old mentalities. So, everything I eat, like I said, they got to keep me blue shrunk, smurf shrunk small to keep me captive because they got to handicap me small to keep me. It's beyond all sense of reality. I mean, it's gotten so bad that they realize they screw up, so then they're invested in the scam. And it really is a whole beautician sort of mentality of figuring it out. The divisive nature, like I said, my sister was used as a wedge. A divisive nature because when they broke up our family, we would have been building a bridge across the English Channel. But English Channel is important. So when she got her name changed for EEM, they made me empathetic, which even puts more pressure on it to divide it, even spread the legs even farther to fucking get some free jewels and pearls. It was easy, that easy meat. And it divided the whole mentality sort of scenario. So they wanted me. I was a beautician. That's what I was going to born to be, a beautician, to make things pretty, because I had global value. And they wanted to transfer all my value out of me into these synthetic clones because they had super high ranks. And they could trump everyone. They want to trump it's the wild card mentality. They're better, they win every contest. And how do they do that? More money, more cash, print more cash, and then figure out ways to seize it through competitive belligerence. Yeah, the whole military conflict is a diversion tactic to the real trade, like the Star Wars trade wars. The trade wars are where it's at. The problem is that it's driven by guilt, and the Catholic healthcare is providing the necessity of validating the systematic proofs of to reinforce their skewed belief structure based upon making them well. It's like making an illegal contract well using healthcare as a weapon to beautify it, and not to mention you can always print more cash, and that's the with everything with me, they will never give me any cash. That's the whole key. So goes back to Bush League, the Anheuser-Busch, or and like they said in the baseball terminology, and my name happened to be initials BLM, like Bureau of Land Management. Also had to do with St. Bart's, the alpha code for that, and so they had to decimate us to be a beautician. And backwards, it's MLB, Major League Baseball, MLB hardball. So therefore, so that was why they tried to chop me up into BLC, Big League Chew, which was founded in Portland by the Portland Mavericks. That's why Nike plays such an important role. My sister working for Nike is bad for the family because what they're doing is they're using her to plug into and distributing assets through her. That's why she's a cash machine and energy source. Because she is willing, because they beat us down so bad. They beat me down and make me pathetic and weak. See, they're solidifying their strength. They're so guilty and crazy that they have to destroy me in order to build themselves up. That's motive. That's what they're doing. And that's what's going on. And so therefore they want to try to inflict upon me all these things. And they really want to, even if I ever escape, they want my mind to be fucked up. That's one of the reasons I do a lot of vocalization commentary in order to keep myself sane to certain degrees, because I am rationally working things out, because I have been alone for so long, so many years, like 15 years, mostly alone. I mean, majority of time. I haven't had a girlfriend. I haven't had a date in over 7 years. I've lived with people, and I made a mistake by getting fired from the ISIS, because I was, after spending so much time by yourself, the cabin fever, you just talk incessantly. And you just rattle and rattle and rattle. So anytime you're around people, you get hyperactive. And I was shy my whole life. But they were these people are so fucked up, crazy, stupid. They've wasted my life to try to get me to play, to be not shy. Literally, my entire life. When I could, but I can't. I have to be 10th grade. I can't leave the 10th grade. But they're trying to build me up to be 10th grade JV. I can't be a pro player because they stole my wallet and they already spent that money. So, but it's like that mentality. But I can't. Whenever I have money, the few times I have money in my life, I'm very outgoing. Or if I have friends. But then again, it goes into the golf. Golf is God gospel of you play by yourself. The solitary, self-reliant mentality. So I'm not allowed a wingman, which are confidence builders. I'm not allowed friends. Friends are how I usually met people when I was in college, when I did date people. They hated the fact that my entire life they wanted to castrate me. Yeah, it goes back to several things. I am a hated commodity without a doubt. No doubt about it. I pay the most for anything. I pay the most because I have deep pockets. So they charge me the most because they stole my wallet and they decide what to charge me with. It's like, we stole your wallet, so let's see. How can we fuck you the most? We're going to charge you the most because, hey, we get to make up the prices because they want to give me back my wallet because they want to keep that door open. So that's part of the motive. So I pay the most. So the few years when I had friends and I met people, even though I was never really outgoing or, I didn't, was never one. So now it's like this, they want to turn me into this lecherous creep because that makes them prettier, because they're a fucking fraud, because they're dope heads that stole my identity. So they want to turn me into this lecherous creep. Not to mention I'm paying for Hugh Hefner Playboy years. That's another bribe to the cougar stat. I'm paying for that. So they're trying to turn me into this begging, empathetic, whereas I don't really care about dating right now. All I care about is trying to find people to work on my business. I've been trying to find interns for years. This has nothing to do with dating. I haven't talked to anybody about dating anything. Nobody wants to be friends. I haven't found anyone that wants to be friends or even, anything. Nothing. Just alone. Home Alone star, Castaway. Home Alone star. I even got my Wilson here that I talked to. No, just kidding. I'm very sane. I'm a scientist. Just have gone stir crazy because I am so. Oh, it's the cabin fever. But I am not allowed to leave. They're trying to make it this stupid, retarded game that they want. Where I'm paying. It's a non-profit casino. That's motive to make it hard because I'm paying so much in this non-profit casino. And the more I pay, the bigger walls they build, so the harder it is for me to escape. So it's really bizarre mentality. So they keep giving away more and more and more and more and more money, and they're using healthcare to bury the victims, and then therefore they will not allow me to. So I pay the most. Yeah, they really hate it. So because for some reason, because Saint Jean Vianney was the patron saint of priests. So therefore I've got to be empathetic to priests. So they're making me take back. It's like I'm forced vows of celibacy, vows of poverty, vows of chastity, all this sort of stuff. Even though this is the fucking mafia. We're talking about straight up gangster mafia bank robbery. This is the good fella. It makes the good fella Lufthansa heist look like a piggy bank. This is such a big mafia job. And I'm not talking about, this is a various factions of mafia all make it. See, empathy is the bread and butter. The spread, bread and butter spread, because I have deep pockets because of the discrepancy between real worth and actual worth. So the bread and butter mafia spread is this discrepancy that the marrow, the gravy train, and while I'm starving, literally hunger pains from being empty, alone. And I contacted 20 law firms when I talked on the phone to law firms in Atlanta and probably 15 law firms here in Savannah about several different angles of cases. Nothing. I asked, I've talked to 200 people. Obviously, I'm here to be a beautician to get fucked. That's what I'm here for, to be a beautician and get fucked and solidify this wedding. Well, it's like I said before. You got St. John Episcopal Church and you got St. John Cathedral. So they're doing a little bit of swap there. And it's Baptist, so they're sharing. Then you got my mother was married in a Presbyterian church. And so that supersedes me because the wedding with my mother was done. So the Presbyterian is 2 levels higher than me. So they get more of my bread communion, even though they've done nothing for me. Nothing. They want me to suffer. They do not want me to succeed. At least Aspen is shit. There were 2 bad years. There were 2 good years. I had 2 decent jobs. But here, they just want to fucking shit on me. They want a golden shower shit storm to make them so pretty. Because they're, literally. Well, the thing is, they got like 12 different Christian churches, and that's like the Supreme Council. The Catholics have a big bank, but they get outvoted, so the whole 12 decide to use the Catholics' bank, and that's what they're using my sister and me for. So they're funneling it through the Episcopal Church where my sister was married. My sister went to, and there's a big Wesley statue right on Congress Street by the Pink House, by the Lucas Theater, where Wesley was the founder of the Methodists, which is where my sister graduated from, SMU Methodist and St. Mary's Methodist, and there's a bunch of Methodist connections. Like I said, great. More power to you, freedom of religion, but you don't steal my wallet and make me pay for it while my bank, global bank, you make me a bench warmer so your boys can go out and fuck my bank up. That's not freedom of religion in my aspect. It goes back to insanity, criminal activity. Therefore, there are factions of good and there are factions of bad. But the good don't do anything, the bad don't do anything. It goes back to, like I said, the Catholics. They have weak blood. The Catholics have this blind faith. They're enamored, they're glamored by Rome. Ooh, it's so beautiful and special. But they do not do anything. So you've got certain Catholics within the United States, like Panetta and Pelosi and Cuomo's and Kennedy's and different factions that are Catholics that then therefore are seen. But see, there's got to be a difference between the aristocracy, blood, the system, and the church. The church handles the blind faith bit, but the blood seems to be worshiping the system rather than, and so that's where you get the Lieutenant Dan. That's why the feet were amputated. Louisiana got chopped off, and Italy got chopped off because of weak aristocracy. Well, they allowed the bank to be robbed. They were in on the deal. They held the door open while people were coming in the back door and loot. I mean, we're talking about a lot of different factions here that were going off. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars. So now they're funneling the money through different channels. And so Louisiana gets screwed. And they're obviously guilty, so they're going to play toward they're fickle to the whims of either Texas or Georgia or the Yankees or California. And then Italy is out of the question, and they're trying to take out Spain. France is on the mend. They really fucking hate France because my grandmother's French, my father's French, so they have to kill fucking France. And after they get big and strong, they're gonna take out England. United Kingdom will be wiped out. There'll be a Smith Revolution. That's got to be the plan. They have to do it. Once they've got to get rid of all they're guilty cop killers. We're talking about when you kill a cop, you are a guilty cop. And they've killed some big cops. They killed some bankers. So now they have to get rid of all of them because it's a threat. And it's like the telltale heart, that heart, beating heart. The law sitting there, and they flash sirens in the sky that make them freak out. It's like anything that ever went wrong with me. There were flashing lights in the sky, so they would figure a way to use me moving me around to screw me worse to make it look right. That's what happened to me. They kept flashing lights, but they kept me in harm's way because they were therefore then the guilty were therefore moving me around or figuring other ways, using wallets to buy factions or attacking. That's why they started attacking different parts of the establishment. So they diluted it all down to now where it's just a big, crazy crapshoot.